Hey Rockers, this is Misty Dawn from the Manamal Streaming Radio. I'm here with Big Jaye from the band Poetry Thieves. He is an internationally renowned singer and songwriter and producer. Hey Big Jaye, thanks so much for joining me today. How are you?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Missy?
I'm doing
Is it
pretty
Misty?
good.
It's Misty like Misty Blues? Like
Yep, Misty
Misty?
Dawn actually.
Oh,
Yep.
Misty Don. Yeah, I know it's not blues. You're much too happy for that. But yeah, I'm doing good. It's a pleasure to meet your acquaintance. I've been looking forward for a long time.
Well, you as well. Thank you so much.
Glad to be on Manamal Radio.
We like to hear that too. Now, for
I'm
those.
coming.
Go ahead.
I
Now,
like
for
to
those
sing all the time. I'm coming. Hold on. Let me get the bubbles out, Misty.
Okay,
I'm coming. There you go.
there you go. Now,
On the
for
wings of
those.
my show.
Now, for those who might not know, Big Jaye was discovered and mentored by the one and only legendary Little Richard. That's amazing. Can you fill
Woo!
us? Can you fill us in on how all that came about?
Oh yeah. Well, it's a long story, but I'll make it short. When I was very young, I left home, went to Hollywood in search of fortune and fame. And on my second day there, walking down the street, I heard a voice saying, "Hello down there," and it was Little Richard speaking from his balcony of his hotel room, which is very rare once you get to know him because he in LA he's very afraid of earthquakes, so he never really went out on his balcony. And so he spoke, and I spoke back, and asked for an autograph. And eventually he allowed me in for an autograph. And when he opened the door, I started singing and dancing right then. Instead of getting the autograph, I gave an impromptu audition, unsolicited. And he laughed. He thought it was very gregarious of me and bold. And he invited me in, and he asked me my name, and I told him my name, and he named me Big Jaye right then. I said, "My name is Jay." He said, "Big Jaye," because he thought what I did was big time. And from there, he kind of just kept me under his wing and took me into his family and fold and put me in his band and took me around the world for 15 years, touring, singing, and dancing backup for him. I sang backup, but I danced as a featured dancer, meaning I wasn't like behind him doing steps. He sat at the piano and I danced out front for a song. And so he gave me the spotlight and really showed me how to become a really consummate performer. And we did everything from presidential inaugurations, I guess you could say, on down from that, so, and yeah, it's been a beautiful relationship, and he became like a father to me, adopted me into his heart and family, and that's how it happened.
That's something. That's amazing. Now, you're actually already in the archives of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for work you did with him. Is that correct?
Yes, we actually it was about him, but again, he always shared the spotlight with me for some reason, and so when he was to be filmed in the archives forever for humanity forever. I mean, 1,000 years from now, people want to know, who started rock and roll and wanted to, students go there and study and say, well, how can we see Little Richard? Then they'll bring out this film and show them. And on that film, when the song Lucille plays, there I pop up and start doing my thing that I, did with him around the world, and my job and capacity of working for him as a featured dancer. And so I was archived too, and so that's a story for the grandkids right there. I mean, a lot of people get into this business and really do well, but they'll never see the halls of that place. And here I was, a member of his band, and I have the distinct pleasure of saying, I'm in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I'll be there until the end of the world. So it's a beautiful thing.
What an incredible honor! That just I can't even. That's something else. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and he didn't have to do that. He could have said, I don't need a dancer this time. He could have said it's all about me, but no, he knew, and it was a conscious decision to give me that and let me have a place in rock and roll history. And he told me that too. He said, I'll never use another dancer after you. This is yours. This is something I'm giving you so that you'll have a place. And I have a pre-Grammy award for that same contribution to the music industry. I mean, so it's really been a blessing. So I have a pre-Grammy award, which is an award ceremony. I think the day I got mine, so did Randy Jackson, the guitar player, and who played on Thriller and a lot of other really big records. And so I have that. Those are two of my greatest achievements: was the pre-Grammy award and to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame archive, forever.
Wow. Now, I also read that you were voted as one of the top 20 most gifted songwriters in America by ASCAP. How did
Yeah,
you
ASCAP.
feel? How did you feel about that?
That was really a great honor. I mean, and when it happened, I had just gotten married, and I was supposed to go on my honeymoon in Tahiti for 12 days, and I actually, believe it or not, postponed that because ASCAP. I sent the song in to them, and they were soliciting songs, and they were looking for new songwriters, and I sent it in, and there were thousands, of course, and I was one of 20 people they chose from all around America to come to Nashville for 6 weeks and to work with what they call the Number One Club. These are songwriters who have written number one hits, and it was a symposium where you just learned the art of songwriting from beginning to end. From an idea to it being on the radio, and every aspect of it was discussed. And I was chosen. It was a hell of an honor, actually. I mean, that was one of my greatest honors because that was really just all about me and what my true contribution as an artist was. And I tell people all the time that's my true God gifted talent. That's the one thing I don't have to work at, and that's writing great songs. I have to work at singing, I have to work at playing the piano, dancing, and performing. I do. I have to practice. But a song, I can write a song in my sleep, and people will hear it and think that they've heard it before. I mean, it's really a special thing, and I don't take credit for it. It's a God gifted talent.
Now, your singing has to be, up there also because you did win Ed McMahon's Next Big Star in the rock category. So tell me a little bit about that.
You've done your homework,
I
Miss.
have.
Okay. The way that happened was Ed McMahon he was he did Star Search, and so he was looking for the new way of doing that, and he was kind of ahead of uh, American Idol and these kind of shows, although he was the pioneer of that idea. And so he was doing it on the internet version of that, and it was when the internet was still a new uh, uh, frontier. And so my guitar player at the time said, "Hey man, there's a Ed McMahon's looking for artists, and they're at, believe it or not, at a Toys R Us." He was like, so if we go and get in line, maybe we can be discovered, or whatever. And so just being a band, and it was right in our backyard, we went and did it, and they actually let us set up our instruments. Most people, I think we were the only band there. And so they let us set up our instruments and everybody performed. And when it was our time, we did a 3 minute song of a song I wrote called Angel. And again, I think it was the song, because later on they videoed everybody. And so later on, I was at home and you had to fill out your information, contact information or whatnot. I got a call. I answered the phone and someone said, Mr. Nelson? I said, yes. They said, please hold on for Mr. McMahon. And I was like, oh my God. And so later on, about 2 minutes later, it was quite a pause. I guess he was talking to someone else or something. But finally, I heard, "Hi," that very famous voice, "Hi, James." And I was like, "Yes, listen." And you instantly knew it was Ed.
Right.
He was like, he said, "I love your band. I love the song Angel. But listen, I can't really hear it as good as I would like. Do you have a CD or a way you could send it to me so I could listen to it better?" And I said, "Yes, sir." And he gave me an address to send the CD to. And I told my band then, I said, "Man, I think we just won." I said, Ed McMahon called me and asked me for the song, and he wants to hear it better. And I'm not saying that the thing is rigged. I'm just saying, if he wants to hear it better, I think we just won.
Right.
And uh, of course, it was online voting, so we had to go through that process. But lo and behold, we won the rock category, and for the Ed McMahon's Next Big Star, I think we were supposed to get $5,000, and that's when I realized it was a little crazy though. You know what I mean? To get that money. You know what I mean? And I was dealing with Ed McMahon's son at the time, and it was like pulling teeth to get that money. I was like, they was paying us like, "Yeah, here's $1,000. I was like, you still owe me four. Here's another 1,200, and you still owe me, still owe me 28. But
Right.
it was fun, and he what a great guy. What a great guy, and he did that for us, and it really helped. You know, with our career and with the a lot of times, and I don't want to name drop, but even Dave Mustaine, who was the first person that I ever played "Wings of My Soul" for. Uh, and he told me that you have a hit record, just get it to the masses. But one of the things he taught me is when you meet people like this and they validate you, sometimes that's all it was supposed to be. You can't look for people to help you more than sometimes just to validate what you're doing and inspire you to continue on. And, people ask me all the time, why don't Little Richard do this or this for you? Now that you have a single out, why don't he make a phone call and get this record label? And first of all, I'm not looking for record labels. I already did the job that they would do. I put the song together, put the video together, and it's done. I don't know what they would do but take my money anyway. But I'm just saying that people sometimes inspire you, and that's why they're in your life. And that was one of those situations. Mr. McMahon validated me as a songwriter and as an artist. And by winning that, he said, "You're the best rock band in America that I found." And that was pretty cool. Sorry, I'm so long-winded.
No, that's great though. I mean, to have I mean, I understand. When people ask you the question, why don't you just have, Little Richard do, but you wanted to do it on your own. I mean, yeah,
Of
he
course.
helped you. There was a platform for you, but you wanted to make your own way, and that's very respectable. I mean, I appreciate that in a musician.
Yeah, the man archived me in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Right.
He taught me how to fish. I don't need a fish sandwich from him. You know, he taught me how to fish. I can eat fish any kind of dish I wish. So
Now, with all of the accolades that you have received, do you ever feel pressure living up to certain expectations?
all the time, all the time. And I say that in my performance at the very end of my shows. I say that it's very humbling, but it's a responsibility that's been handed down to me. Little Richard said, I'm the architect and you are the apprentice. So my job is to learn and to show what the master has taught me. And I don't think I'll ever be the master because I'm a consummate student. I'm always on the learn. So maybe somebody will learn from me and call me. One day say that guy was a master, but in my eyes, I'll always be the student because I was around Little Richard, Chuck Berry, and BB King and Jerry Lee Lewis and these guys who really started this thing that we call rock and roll. So I already know the masters, so I know I'm not one. But anyway, I do feel that pressure for not uh, living up to even the things that had already come to pass, and to continue on a tradition that was handed to me personally. Not, I was with James Brown. How many people can say they toured with him? He's gone. You can't say you did it. B.B. King is gone. Chuck Berry is gone. If you never did it with him, it's too late. You can never say you did. And there's very few people in our generation that can say that they were there. And I was there. I was there. I was with them. The way that Michael Jackson watched Jackie Wilson from the side of the stage, I watched James Brown. And I performed on stage with Little Richard. He's never going to perform again. Okay, so very few people can say they walked that last 25 feet. 25 feet from the side stage to that spotlight on the greatest stage known to man, Beethoven, Mozart type level entertainer. And so, when you continue on, then there's a tradition. And I think that more than anything is that the pressure comes from continuing on a tradition. And mind you, most of the people I just named were African Americans. And I say that with pride and not with disdain or with some weirdness to it. I just think that as a culture, we forget that this was a music that we started, that we had a very big hand in starting. And without people like LaJean from Seven Dust and Bones from Stuck Mojo, Corey from In Living Color, there's very few of us, the guys from Mother's Finest and the lady, sorry, without a few of us, it's like we've turned our back on something that's really beautiful that we were a part of, that we started. And it's a long time ago, rock was like rap is now. It was a new greatest thing on earth. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I dare say, 50 years from now, will there be any black rappers? You know what I mean? And will the world say the greatest one was Eminem, which was really one of the only whites that did it, like Elvis was at the time with rock and roll? I mean, these are things that I think about, and that's the pressure for me, because I have to try to carry on something that I see my culture is kind of becoming less involved in, and I wouldn't be doing it had I not really been there with the masters, because it didn't really grab me. The band that made me like rock and roll was Aerosmith and Rod Stewart. But, when I met Little Richard and I got to know the history of it, and then I started touring and I started being there with the Chuck Berrys and Bo Diddleys and these guys, then I understood. So to answer your question again, I'm so long-winded. Yes, there is some pressure to keep it going more so than to be great at it, But I guess to keep it going, you have to be great at it, so they kind of go in tandem.
All right, now let's get into the Poetry Thieves here. I think the name of the band, of course, speaks for itself, but how did you decide on this name?
It was a decision that me and my drummer, Omar at the time, we were thinking of, we were coming out of the Sexy Circus thing. And we wanted something that really identified what we stood for. And so it basically comes down to this. Just like I was explaining about being around James Brown and Little Richard, and these guys giving me inspiration. You learn from them. You take little things. You know what I mean? And that was always part of music culture. whether people admit it or not. You went to the Cotton Club, or they went to the Cotton Club, and they would watch, Michael Jackson watched Jackie Wilson, and so he stole some moves, and then he watched James Brown, and if you watch that audition for Motown, he was singing James Brown and dancing like James Brown. Okay, so there's always been this situation where the greats stand on the shoulders of other greats, but you still or take little things and you add them into yourself and you evolve and you become greater. And that goes for sports or anything, which is why I said I'm the apprentice, because I'm watching the greats and I'm learning all the time. But in that learning, I'm taking the information that that I think applies to me, and I might take a nuance, or I might take emotion, and I build myself up as a complete artist that way, and I'm actually stealing or taking from others. So it's the poetry part is that this is an art, this is music, this is, rhymes and melody. So that's the poetic part, the poetry. And then Thieves is the honest part of, we're all taking from someone greater than ourselves. If you think that you really just created it all by yourself and that, there's nobody, then you're lying. I can see a lot of Jimi Hendrix and Prince. I can see a lot of James Brown and Michael Jackson and Sammy Davis Jr. and Michael Jackson. And I can see a lot of Mr. Bojangles and Sammy Davis Jr. And it goes on. And that's the way it should be. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So it's inspiration. You're drawing the inspiration.
Right. So I just decided that the name would be what I am. I'm a thief of poetry. I steal from greats, but I don't. Am I stealing? Yes, because I don't ask for it. I don't go and say, "Hey, man, I love the way you did that, sir. Could you mind if I do that when I perform next?" No, I don't. I just do it. And people, they say the best form of flattery is imitation. So therefore, I think it's an honorable thing to do, but it's an honest thing for me to say that's what I'm doing.
That's great. I love the name. I really do love the name.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, being at number one at the top of All Access's cool new music must feel so gratifying. How did you feel when you heard about that?
You know what? It blew my mind because of the people that I was ahead of. We came on the charts at number 7, and my manager called me and was like, "You happy? You happy?" And I said, "No, I think you need to check my resume again. I want to be number one." But it was it was a heck of an honor to just be in the top 10. I'll be honest, a perfect circle and people like that were right up under me. So, it was quite an honor. But then the next week, or 3 or 4 days later, we were number 5, and then number 4. And then I think from number 4, we went straight to number 1. And when I watched the charts as, the climb was happening, that number 1 spot would change every 2 or 3 days, And we were number 1 in 2 categories. We were number 1 in downloads and streaming. And when we hit number 1, we were in both categories for 3.5 weeks, solid. Yeah, and I'm talking about people like U2 and everybody was dropping singles. And we stayed at number 1 for that period of time ahead of Papa Roach, Tooth Grinder, Metallica, John Fogerty, the Rolling Stones. It was mind-boggling. I couldn't believe it. I wanted it, I expected it, but when you really get there, it's very humbling. And you know what? I have to be honest, Misti. I didn't get a lot of congratulations from people that I thought I always assumed would. James Hetfield from Metallica congratulated me. He don't even know me. I met him one time at the American Music Awards, but I doubt if he remembers that. But, he congratulated me. But I had some people closer to me that I just expected would say something, and it didn't happen. And I learned how lonely it is. That number one, actually. and
Well,
but it's yeah.
I want to
I
congratulate you.
oh thank. And I'm not saying that like poor me, poor me. I'm
No,
just
I understand.
it's a very odd thing, and I think that a good friend of mine told me to remember this is always a, one big talent show, one big competition. There's only one number one spot. There's only one Grammy for each category, and everybody wants it, whether they say they do or not. They do. So understand that, and understand if you're not on that team, then that's your frenemy. At the very best. You know what I mean? You're competing. Even brothers Jermaine and Michael were competing if they had a record out at the same time. You know what I mean? So I had to learn that part, and I'm a very giving person, and I'm not a hater at all. So that part was a little weird for me, but the honor of being number one without a major label after me meant that the people, and again, the song and that was one of the things they taught us at that symposium at ASCAP. This business has been, will be, and always will be. I mean, has been, and always will be about a great song. That's what it comes down to. When a song plays and people really connect to it, then that is what this business is about. Sometimes you can push a song through with power, play it so much on the radio, people instinctually begin to sing along. You learn it. But you do that with dumb TV jingles, commercials, But at the same time, some of them are actually really well written, and that's why you sing along, too. So I think the song is a great song, well written, and it's doing its own thing because my management told me we just put it out there. We had to do with it climbing the chart. So.
Now, given the success of your song Wings of My Soul, how do you feel you and the band have developed to get to this point?
Well, I think that the song is doing is on its own. We're not out. Our first show is the 24th of May. So the first campaign to push Wings of My Soul. So the song has taken on its own life form and its own energy, and I think that it is giving us reason to actually live up to it. I mean, a lot of times, you go out and you push a song and you make it bigger, but this is a song that's bigger, and we got to kind of catch up with it and say, yeah, we can perform this song as good as you like it and have heard it, and that's a great position to be in. But again, it's pressure, but I like pressure. I do. Let me tell you,
I thrive under pressure too.
It's so much better to have pressure than nobody knows. You know what I mean? Nobody cares. Nobody's heard it. Nobody. You know what I mean? I'm not trading anybody on this one. I'll take the pressure to be great, and that's my answer to that.
Now, who are some of the artists you enjoy listening to today?
You know what? I'll be honest, and I'm always honest, but usually if people say that, they're lying like the president or something. But I don't listen to a lot of other people because that poetry thief thing, and I don't want to be influenced, and I'm easily influenced in the arts. You know what I mean? If I listen to somebody else's song and it's really good, it'll stick in my head. That melody will be right there, and I'll be singing and humming it along because I'm not a hater. And you write something good, I'm gonna, say that was good, and it'll get in the way of the babies that I have to birth, and those are songs that are yet to be written. But if I listen to a lot of old songs, so that I'm not into that thing of hey, that sounds just like AWACS. You know what I mean? Your new song sounds like the one that's playing on the radio. So but I listen to the old greats, Stevie Wonder. Uh, uh, I like Prince, Rick James, Rod Stewart. I listen to uh, I listen to a lot of real classical music. I like classical music and Michael Jackson. You have to really be really like you have to break through for me to be into you. And that's not saying that there's not a lot of cool music that's by bands that don't have to have all the accolades, because I do hear them, and I listen to them and I think, wow, who is this? You know what I mean? But
Right.
really, I just go to those songs and I listen to songs that I've heard before. I'm not really one of those people that are looking for new music. I like listening to great songs that I already know are going to provoke a certain feeling in me that gives me energy or gives me a certain feeling that I know. It's like ice cream. You know how you're going to feel when you eat a bowl of ice cream? Well,
Hmm.
that's how music is for me. I don't like to try too much different things. It's like a comfort zone for me. So I'll listen to a song that I know is going to put me in a certain mood, and then I'll go and write for myself new music. I can play the piano, but I can't play anybody else's songs. I can only play the songs I write. So it's one of those kind of things.
That's
But
awesome, though.
but
You know, go
go
ahead. Sorry.
ahead.
I was just gonna say that, by you listening to the musicians who inspired you, um, that inspire you to write, I can understand why you would want to stick with that type, that those specific ones to keep the inspiration flowing.
Exactly. And that if they've already taken that area of my space, and taking that space in my mind, then it's theirs. You know what I mean? The place I have for certain songs, that song belongs to a certain part of my life and mind and physical and mental space. And it's not often that, you know, something new comes along that can outdo that, because it's almost a love thing. But don't get me wrong. Ed Sheeran writes great songs. You know what I mean? Adele, that song she had, the big hit, it's eluding me right now. My band always josh me for this because I can never remember faces and names. Well, but I know what I'm talking about. And Into the Abyss or whatever it was, it was such a great song. And every now and then somebody does come along and reach that plateau where I go, okay, that I'm feeling this. I'm listening to this, because they're going to be that. You know what I mean? But I just don't listen to everything that comes out. You know what I mean? I have to know you. Like I know Seven Dust, so I listen to their songs because I know them, and so I'm interested in what they're doing as friends, as the process. But I just don't go to the record store and thumb through looking for new artists and stuff. And if I meet you in life and then I say, oh man, well, I'm going to check you out, then it's from an honest place. But I'm not musically curious in that way, because I'm always writing. I'm always composing. I'm always birthing new songs myself. And I said that to say because Quincy Jones told me he's the same way, that he don't really listen to the radio too much because what I mean, it would influence him. It would.
Understood. Understood. Now, are there any projects you're working on that you can share with us?
Um. Okay. Uh, I'll tell. I'm working on. There's a big movie coming out about a gentleman who was he fought against police brutality in Detroit, and he was the first person to take a hijack an airplane and threaten to use it as a missile like 9/11. Uh, his name is Louis Moore, and his story is about to come out in film. And I've been given the honor to do some music for that movie. And so I've been in a very deep place because I want the message to come out right. And he just recently passed. I spoke at his funeral, and so that's something really big. And the people that are working on it uh, are Oscar-winning producers. They same people that worked on Hacksaw Ridge. Uh, so
Wow. Well, that's congratulations on that. That's amazing.
thank you, thank you. I'm a very blessed person for nobody to know who the heck I am. I tell you that. The right people do know who I am. So,
Now, do you have any upcoming shows that you can shed a light on?
yes, um, May 24th we'll be in Pryor, Oklahoma, at the Rocklahoma Music Festival. But we're playing the official pre-party on Thursday in the campgrounds area. They wouldn't let me in the building for some reason. I'll take that up with management because I don't really get into that part of the business. I'm kind of like the artist, and it's somebody else's job to take it to the museum. But we didn't get in the museum. We're right outside as you're walking into the museum, and we got to work on that. But also, I've been invited down to Florida to headline. Now, I was offered an opening slot, and I was going to open for Jefferson's airship. I'm sorry, and then the venue owners decided I should play a headline and get date instead, and that kind of threw me for a loop because the song, like I said, is actually bigger than it just took off. So yeah, we're getting ready to do that, and then there's this guy named Bubba the Love Sponge, who is a national radio shock jock who heard the song or something, and he's invited us to come there and play on a national radio appearance, for like 5 million people. But what I'm doing is there are a lot of bands that get out and tour, and I did that so much. I did every tour you can name, from college to opening. I mean, I've opened from Van Halen to Mars Day and the Time. I've just, I played around the world without Little Richard. And so I know that you can burn a band out like that if you're not getting traction. That's really what breaks bands up. They play so many shows and they wonder why haven't things moved along. And so what I'm trying not to do is burn out this project as far as the musicians. So we're going to be playing choice situation. Now, when it's time to really just tour without coming home, we will, when it does that. And to be honest, when the money can replace their job in life, you know what I mean? That's what it comes down to. When they can make an honest living, and I mean an honest living from the music, then I wouldn't ask them to give up livelihood, to just be a musician. You shouldn't have to, you shouldn't have to. Because really, if you get a great song and you get a movement in that regard, then the demand will be there. And so we're going with the demand this time. We're not going to try to force it and be like, look I got 45 dates. Yeah, well, 40 of them are in little bitty clubs, and that's nothing wrong with that. But really, you're not getting paid. You're playing for a pizza and a six-pack, and nobody heard you. You know what I mean? It's just a long trot, and that's a full environment. It's filled up, and it doesn't need Big Jaye, doesn't need Corky Thieves. So we'll be playing in situations. Anything that will promote the brand and build the band, we'll be doing those shows. But I'm not going to just play because we're a band that we need to play. I've done that, and repeated behavior expecting a different result is insanity. So we try not to be insane.
Understood. I hear that. Now,
Is
what's
that
the...
too deep? That's too deep, right? I got to make this thing lighter. I'm sorry. We're
No.
gonna be playing all over, everywhere, man. Yeah, it's cool, man. We're going to Europe. We're gonna be playing the Whiskey out in Hollywood, the Troubadour, and we're gonna be playing Vegas. And this is all true. I gave you the wrong answer. I'm sorry. My manager's gonna kill me because I'm supposed to be. I'm such a deep person, but you know. I can't be so dark all the time. And I don't mean dark in a bad way. That's just me. I'm so serious and focused. But sorry. Yeah. Plans. Plans. We won't be everywhere. Really. We're just not going to be doing a bunch of one-nighters. That's all.
Okay. Now, what's the best advice ever given to you about the ins and outs of the music business?
Tina Turner. Go where they love you.
Well, that was nice. That's short and sweet, and that really resonates.
Yeah. Think about it.
That's very
So true.
true.
Yeah. Tina Turner. Go where they love you, baby.
That's pretty awesome. I like that. Now, is there
Mm-hmm.
anything else that we haven't talked about that you would want to mention to the listeners today?
Yeah. What? You know what? I haven't put the song out for sale. I've done that for a reason.
Okay.
When the song goes on sale, please go buy it because it'll be from me to you. There won't be a middleman, probably not even a CD Baby type situation or iTunes or whatever. It'll probably be just between me and you, like it should be. You'll be buying it from me and I'll be selling it to you. So when I put the song out for sale, please understand that. I may even sign every single copy because, if I need to sign 1,000,000, hey, I'll buy a new wrist. But, otherwise, it's between me and you. And I don't want anybody to get in between that relationship, the song, and the person that feels good enough about it that they want to put their hard-earned money down to say, give me my copy. So
That's awesome.
that's
Well,
that.
I want to thank you so much for joining me today, Big Jay. It was so super nice to talk
Thank
to
you,
you.
Misty. Thank you, Misty Dawn.
You're
I love you
welcome.
already. I'm a
Oh,
fan of your show. And
thank
everybody
you.
needs to go listen to Manamal Radio.
Yes, and for all of our listeners, be sure to check out Poetry Thief's song Wings of My Soul. It's a great tune. I'm looking
Check out
forward to
the
hear.
video too on YouTube.
Yup, definitely. Looking forward to hearing from you guys. So please keep in touch with us, Big J. Okay?
You got it, baby. And please play it. Please play the song.
We got it going on. It starts, I do
I'm
believe, Saturday.
coming.
Yep. All right.
Yeah.
Well, you have a wonderful day.
Thank you, and you too.
All right, hun. Bye bye.
God bless.